Greenwood from the North Melbourne Footy Club, and you're listening to another episode of the Hashtag Kangaroos podcast.
Whatever I've been through, the moment I see you, things start looking on.
Welcome to another episode. My name is Dean Vasic. You can find me on X at Hashtag Kangas, Instagram Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. Also on YouTube now, just type in my name, Dean Vasic. You can watch the shows there. All right, tonight is ladies' night, and I welcome back to this show my Thursday regulars now, Clare and Jacinta. Girls, it's so good to have you on all tonight after the trade period that's happened in the men's program yesterday. Now, we'll talk about that first before we chat about the girls and what's going on with them. Well, they continue to win, so that's good. Jacinta, I'm going to start with you because you're short on time. Now, just tell the listeners how committed you are to this podcast. What time do you have to get up in the morning to start your shift work?
Oh, I'm very committed to the girls. I have a 1:05 a.m. alarm because I start at 2 a.m. I'm meant to be driving trains, but no trains run at 2 a.m., so I will be sitting on the couch at Flinders Street.
Well, good luck trying to stay awake. It's well, anyways, we'll go to the trade period that finished yesterday. Now, it was looking pretty bleak at 7:21 p.m. Last night, but all of a sudden we were able to get three players in the space of a minute, basically. Happy with how it all panned out in the end?
I am wrapped with Caleb Daniel. The pick 25 surprised me. I just think it's just odd that we had to cough up 25 for Daniel and then St Kilda didn't cough up. They coughed up like a pick in the 40s for McRae. I don't know. I just think they both got treated about the same at the Doggies. But that's okay. I'm happy to get Caleb Daniel. We'll just pay out what we need to. Luke Parker, also really happy with. I'm happy with both of them. Darling, I think we discussed last week. I'm not completely sold on him, but we need the experience, and I think that they're all going to contribute and probably play most weeks. So we'll take them.
Oh, definitely will. Well, we've got him now, so we might have to take him. We've got Costanti, which we'll talk about in a second. Claire, welcome to the show. You mentioned, and I'll echo these thoughts last night with the boys, and we lost experience in Liam Shields and Hugh Greenwood. No disrespect to those guys, but to add experience as well as players who are still good enough at this level was the big win. Maybe the jury will be out for Darling, I'm not too sure. But I think Parker and Daniel are still good enough for this level, aren't they? And this should give the club more wins next year, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it buys us, potentially, pending on the fixture, buys us anywhere between 3 to maybe 5 wins, depending on how many times, like you said, we play like a Richmond or a West Coast or sides around us. But I think the perfect thing about this is that you've now got people in right positions to really nurture and develop the core nucleus of what our sort of flag tilt is going to be like. And so what I mean by that is that the high draft picks that we've been able to collate over the past couple of years, which is like Sheasel, Wardlaw, Dersma and McKercher, now have direct, tutoring and coaching from playing people around them. So you've got Luke Parker that can work with the midfield, the inside midfield, like a George Wardlaw, and then he can go, I guess, half forward and work with someone like a Zane Dersma. And then I think Caleb Daniel opens up so many options with being able to probably put a McKercher on the wing because, Daniel can play half back, which means McKercher can kind of develop into this, ideally when his body gets 100% right and he's got a bit more muscle to him. I'd like to see him play a little bit more on ball and a little bit, like, I guess, on the outside. The perfect position for him is more like a Goulden, like an Errol sort of Goulden type of player. And then you've got, haters are going to hate with Jack Darling, but I think he offers the decoy forward for Larky and for the new forward line that's set up there. So I'm pretty wrapped. And this Kostansky guy's kind of like the steak knife, so we'll take what we can get, and if it works, great, fantastic. But I think it's a really successful period for the club. I know that we've spent many years, I guess, kind of being at the punchline of the joke of never being able to land a big fish, and albeit that, Caleb Daniel's 28 and Parker's 31 and Darling's a bit older, but they're big fish and they're coming to Arden Street. So I think it's a really good time for North people to be really excited about what the men's program is going to look like and how it's going to take a different sort of shape in 2025, which will hopefully be a lot more positive than 2024.
Oh, it was only a few months ago we got Libby Birch as well as a big fish.
Exactly,
So,
absolutely.
we're a destination club now.
We really are.
Yeah, Jacinta, I think Costanti was the biggest surprise because he was not mentioned at all until the last couple of hours yesterday. Even the Swans boss, list manager, whatever he was, he mentioned it. Now, he's a player, that was thrown in, but he feels the need as well. He's a small forward, a small pressuring forward in the mould of, a Tom Papley, but obviously not to that level or anything like that. I mean, I guess as far as getting leadership into the club and trying to improve the list in the forward half game, which is an important metric, try and keep that ball in the forward half. That's probably one of the most important statistics. You told me that, working with champion data. I mean, I guess we tick the boxes in that regard as far as the trade period went.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the club had their eye on him through the whole trade period, or they just thought, if we're going to give up this, I know they initially offered a pick in the 60s for Parker, so if they thought, if we give 44, we'll just quickly scan their list and see if there's a steak knives we can have in there as well. But no, I mean, in terms of picking a player, I think they've picked the right type. I remember doing a few of his games for Champion Data when we had to do those stats. I think he got drafted in 2022. But he was good to watch because he really does. He just chases all day, and we don't have. I mean, we've got some small forwards that can kick goals, but we don't really have any that apply all that much pressure. So I think he'll set some standards as well. I hope he can take some stuff that he learnt from Papley and the other forwards they've got up there, and he can show, Paul Curtis how hard you need to work, I guess. I know he hasn't really shown much at AFL level, but no, I have faith. I have faith that he's going to come good for us, and he fills a need that we did need, and I think it relieves some of the pressure come draft night in that hopefully this means I don't have to pick a small forward in that top 30, so hopefully it just takes off some of the pressure and they really can go best available rather than needs-based, because I think, that small forwards definitely need that we had to fill, and hopefully this is that's that box ticked off.
Well, he adds depth, I guess, if anything else, in that small forwards spot. I mean, we got Geordie Payne as well, who I really rate as a mid-season draft pick, was number one pick. Robert Hansen got a few games towards the end, so it does add a little bit of pressure to that spot, so which is good to see. Now, Claire, it sounds like we want to split pick 2 because we only have 2 picks at the moment, and that's pick 2 and 62. So it's a big gap in between. Rawlings did say he would throw in future picks for that to get the right deal. So it might be a future second to get, maybe, I don't know, 6 and 10 or something like that. I don't even know what the clubs have got. I think Melbourne's got 5 and 9. He'd be prepared to throw, a future pick to try and get 2 top 10 picks that are probably a bit later. I think we'd be all behind that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no. I've had a chat to some people about it today. I'd be happy to even go like a 10 or 14, I think is what Richmond holds or something at the moment. Getting collective draft talent, I think, is important. Having, 2 at the opposite ends of the bookends of this draft doesn't really make any sort of sense, especially when we're trying to develop a group of players all around the same kind of age together. So, I'd be happy to split up. I also think what Brady said about the future first is really optimistic for him. And what I mean by that is, he's not necessarily saying our future first is going to be, a top 5 pick, because he hopes that the club can improve rapidly with these trades, the trade-ins. I think it's a very optimistic viewpoint from Rawlings. So I'm happy to split it. As far as the research I've done with this draft, it's air quote, it's a super draft. So I'm pretty excited to see what comes out. And, I get a little bit nervous with holding such high draft picks in your hands. I know pick 2 slides down with academies and father-sons and things like that, but I'd much rather have 2 collective young men in a kind of around the 10 to 15s together and going through the club together than potentially drag a pick 2 and a 62 that we know later on the draft, it can be harder to scout the talent that you can get. So happy to split the pick, Dean. I think it's good future planning for the club.
What about you, Jacinta? Are you with those thoughts, or would you just say, look, if it's not going to be the right deal, then you just pick the best available pick 2 and so be it?
I think chances of hitting are better if we have 2 shots at it. That is my thinking. I just really would not want them to miss on, a top 4 draft pick, to be honest with you. So I guess if we've got 2 shots at it, then surely we don't stuff up 2. That's my main issue with it. I just get, it's the same thing like Claire said. You just get really nervous when you get those early picks because, it's also the pressure on the kid that gets picked up. I think if a couple of them coming together, then at least the burden evens out a little bit. Like, who do we pick up that year with Tom Powell? Was it Will Phil?
Yeah, Will Phillips was 3, wasn't he? And Tom Powell was 13, I think.
So I think for that first year, I think they both kind of took the pressure off each other. And then obviously after that, Will Phil's kind of just copped all the pressure. But I think for that first year, it worked out well. So, I don't mind the idea of splitting it as long as they're probably 2 picks in the top 15.
No, well, we'll certainly hope and so anyway. Claire, Charlie Lazaro, Cooper Harvey, Blake Drury, still no contracts for them. Would you want to keep any of those players now after this trade period?
Yeah, feeling a bit for those lads. If anyone, probably a Drury, maybe gets a lifeline. I'd predict Harvey.
Is it the red hair?
It's the red hair. No, he went a really cute USA trip with Sheasel and Wardlaw. Yeah, I thought that was quite wholesome, and I think it's nice to keep good people together, and he looks like a good lad. So I'd like to see him be extended a lifeline there. Lazaro probably, unfortunately, could never really crack into that midfield. And Cooper Harvey is, I don't know. He's so hard to read. I mean, I feel a little, sad for him that he debuted down in Geelong and he probably got, a 10-goal loss down at GMHBA Stadium. But he seems like a pretty good VFL player, but he's been unable to kind of crack the team. However, his last name might secure him another year. So, but if out of all those blokes, I'm extending Drury, I guess. I think he's got the most promise for the club.
Okay. Jacinta, I have a feeling you may want to keep one of those players, and I have a feeling I know who you will say. But would you keep any of those players with who has come in?
With all the bias in the world, it would be Lazaro, but I just think we should keep Cooper Harvey. And I know he gets that extra year because of the name, but we did do his dad pretty rough in the end. And I just think that year or 2 that we cut off his dad's career, we should just extend. I think that just evens it out.
Enough.
Yeah. No, and I think he actually does have a lot of talent. If we just play him forward, I just don't know why he's playing off the half back line like everyone else. But I think if we play him forward, he's got something. Lazaro, I would like to keep for depth. Blake Drury, he seems like a really good guy, but I'm just not sold on him. But again, he's in a position that we do need. We do need those little forwards, so he might get a go. But no, I think Cooper Harvey will get another year, and the other 2 will probably be gone.
Yeah, I think they all might go, to be honest with you. I'm not confident about any of them. What's that, Jacinta? Sorry.
No, it's just brutal. Hey, just cut all through.
Yeah, that's the nature of the business, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You get. We've got 4 players in. If we split the pick, I think then it'll definitely. I think probably all 3 of them will go. I think 2 of them will definitely go, but it's a case of hanging on by a thread for the third one. I'm not too sure which way they're going to go. I don't think they'll keep Harvey or Drury, but. Especially getting in this Costanti, I don't think there's a role for Drury or Harvey. Harvey, we've got him in half forwards. And Lazaro, it might be touch and go if they want a bit of depth in that midfield. I still think there's a player there with Charlie Lazaro, and it'd be a shame if he didn't get another contract or another club at least. But, we'll wait and see. Claire, what's your grade for the trade period? Would you give it like a B or an A or C?
Yeah, hard to know, aren't they? Because you go onto the Twitter and you see these report cards from all the different media publications and radio stations, and they're so mixed. I guess we came to the trade period wanting to get experience, and we've got that on every line, essentially, in the forwards, the mids, and in the backs. I think the club really pushed for Houston, and ultimately his choice not to select us it's his own. So I would say if we had got Houston, it would have been a flawless trade period. But I think a B plus, I think, is a decent, I guess, score. Like you said, they came with an aim and they were able to pull that off. And I think the A would have been, I guess, ticked if we were able to secure a Houston type player, or if we were able to, sort of draft and do some pick trades with splitting the number two. So at the moment, I've given them a B plus. So that's where I stand.
Oh, fair enough. I'd probably be in a similar thoughts with you, Claire. There. What about you, Jacinta? Your final grade?
Yeah, I'm about the same. Probably a B plus. I think. Yeah, if they had managed to, I guess they've still got time. If they can sneak another, top 20 pick in there, then it probably moves up to an A. But yeah, they've still got some time to work that one out.
I wouldn't give it an A only because we probably overpaid a little bit for Caleb Daniel. That's the only one. Yeah, a B plus is a fair grade. We filled out what we wanted to do. We filled certain needs. And sometimes if you want to play for another club, then you have to overpay. That's just the nature of the business, especially if they're under contract. And yeah, it worked out in the end, albeit in the pretty much last second of trade period. Just on that, Claire, are you a big fan of the trade period, the 10 days? It seems to be not much goes on till about the last couple of hours.
I hate the trade period. I cannot stand the trade period. Dean, I think the fact that it goes on for so long is basically capitalism on steroids. I particularly found this trade period hard to stomach because of how much influence is wielded from the players' managers, and how much in the background, I guess, is the mechanics working behind it. And I don't know, I struggle because I think specifically free agents who have played a set amount, unrestricted free agents, I should caveat, unrestricted free agents probably should have a fair whack of saying what club they kind of want to go to and where their next workplace is going to be. But a part of me is a little frustrated with how much the players do get to dictate where they go.
Oh, I might have lost you, Claire. It sounds. Oh, we'll see if we can get you back. Jacinta, what are your thoughts on the trade period? It was a similar thoughts of Claire there. It just seems to drag on too long, and pretty much similar thoughts to everyone besides the media who seem to love it.
It definitely drags on longer than it needs to, and I think everyone knows that, and the AFL definitely knows that. That's why they milk it. But I actually really love listening to the rubbish that goes on for the 2 or 3. I just love them just talking footy, and I think when it comes to the trade period, they actually talk like players, like skills and abilities, where it's like during this season, they're just talking rubbish, like, this coach should get sacked and this and this, and then nobody turns up to this team's games. And I don't know. It just sounds like they talk actual football outside of like the posturing and stuff with the managers, which I agree with Claire. I think it's just ridiculous, the power that they have. As soon as they want out, they get out. And I just don't think that's fair on the clubs. But yeah, what do you think of it?
Yeah, it's disappointing. Like someone like Dan Houston, who a month ago says, yeah, I'm committed. They signed a 5-year contract, and all of a sudden says, no, I want to leave now. I think if in that situation, I think Port Adelaide gave him far too easily to him. And it was a pretty poor excuse. Like, fair enough if it's something legitimate, but just, my girlfriend's bored in Adelaide. She wants to move back to Melbourne, so I'm just going to follow her. I mean, what happens if you break up with her a couple of months later? You've given up a lot just to go to a big Melbourne club. So I feel like the contracts are almost useless half the time. So Yeah, but
Yeah, if I was a Richmond
yeah,
supporter, I would just be fuming. If like they've just had these players, they've just had like the best run ever, and as soon as it gets hard, they leave. I would just be out of my mind with anger. Like if LDU leaves next year, like that's disappointing, but you can't blame him. But if he had just come off 3 premierships and then he said, "That's it, I'm out," I would be raging. So at least I haven't had that problem yet.
Yeah, I mean, they lost a lot of quality. I guess, the good thing was they were able to get, a pretty good draft picks, a good draft hand. So it'll be tough for 2 or 3 years, and then they'll sort of they'll probably regroup pretty quickly. You have to think. I mean, some of those picks won't hit, but Laura Averages says you're probably going to get 3 or 4 good players out of it. Especially, I think they got 6 or 7 picks in the top 20 or something like that. So they've done pretty well for themselves. Claire, welcome back. We lost you there for a period.
I got a phone call as well, so it just seems to drop out. It's pretty annoying, but that's okay. Anyway, I was on a big rant, so I probably needed to be cut off anyway.
Fair enough. All good. Well, girls, we'll move on to the girls, and something I love chatting about. Claire, views on the game last week against the Swans, another impressive 10-goal win by the girls, and they just keep rolling, don't they?
Oh, mate, I tell you what, they're in fine form. They just sort of keep on. I was first quarter. Sydney came out. They came out to play. I was really impressed with how they moved the ball and how they set up and sort of how they attacked. And I think we ended up kicking 5 goals to 3 at quarter time, which just shows you how great we are as a football club, that we adapt, and whatever you can do, we can do better. But yeah, post quarter time, it sort of it changed quite a bit, and I think we stretched them in terms of not just only our game plan and our structures, but just our skill and the level of class that we have on every line. And, in 2010, I joined Twitter, Dean, and on the weekend, it's been the only time that I've changed my profile picture, and that is because Jazzy Garner giving the high five was potentially one of the best things I've seen on the football field. It was, mate, for such a calm, composed, very non-emotional player. Like every week she gets tagged, every week she cops so much flack, and and for her to sort of bite back and give it back, I thought, this is iconic. This is just incredible. So I think we did what we needed to do with the Swans. I always thought there was going to be probably close to an 8 to 10 goal win, and that's what it was in the end. So apart from Erica O'Shea absolutely scaring the living daylights out of me when she went down, pretty flawless sort of game. And then I thought to myself, when she came off the moon boot, I was like, how many weeks? And then she's gone and got a sprained ankle. She loves the theatre, does she, Erica O'Shea? So pretty flawless game, and pretty excited to see it all sort of come together, especially in the back half of the season.
Now, Claire mentioned that we got off to a slow start last week. We've had a couple slow starts against teams this year. Any concerns there, Jacinta?
Not really. I honestly think it was like an adjustment period where they had to get used to playing in dry weather. Like, honestly, I don't think they just weren't ready for the ball to move fast. I don't know. I really don't know. But no, Sydney actually played really well in that first quarter. That was probably the one quarter where I could say, the commentators should be pumping them up a bit. And then the rest of the game, I don't know what they were watching, honestly. But no, that first quarter, Sydney played well. And then, but I do think we held up pretty well. I mean, I think Sydney had a few free-flowing entries in that in our defensive half, and that made me wonder what was going on a little bit, because we have barely given up inside 50s, let alone the amount of territory that we were giving up. But they adjusted well, so I think it was actually good for them to be put on the back foot, even if it was only for 15 minutes. I think it's just good for their psyches, just to know, or their psyches, just to know that, even the bottom half teams, they can get up, and you never know, they can challenge you for a little while, but they put their foot down and sped away from them anyway. So, no, I think it was good for them. I don't really think it's a concern. But yeah, they have started a little bit slow in a few games, haven't they? But no, I think they'll be awake. Come Adelaide, I think they'll be awake for that first quarter. I have faith.
No, that's yeah. Hopefully, yeah, that's probably the big game coming up. I mean, we've obviously got a big game coming up this week, so we'll yeah, I mean, we'll preview that as well. Claire, you still there?
Yeah. Sorry, my
Yeah,
dog's snoring next to me, so I'm
I
trying
thought
to.
I thought I heard something like that, but
Yeah.
no.
I'm really trying to make sure I mute my mic so you don't pick up the
Yeah,
snore.
fair
So
enough.
I'm definitely here. I'm just trying to block out everyone's
Yeah,
snoring.
yeah. No, I thought you might have dozed off there. I thought that's a bit disrespectful to Jacinta, but
I'm so sorry. I'm
Fair.
so
and
sorry.
me.
I'll continue to put it on mute when I'm not chatting. I
No,
promise.
no, all good. Yeah, I mean, full credit to the Swans. They had more inside 50s, Claire. They laid 30 inside 50 tackles, but our skills were just far superior to theirs. And look, geez, there's a lot of talent along those lines, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I think having Scotty Gowans at the helm of Sydney also uh, provided some insight to how we would set up and what were some maybe weaknesses. I put that in air quotes. And that definitely would have helped. I also think, Scott Gowans came out, I think, the week before and said he wanted to play a much more attacking and I guess interesting and a brand of football that was going down swinging was, I
Yeah.
think, his direct quote. So I did like that. I liked that they were constantly tried to put themselves in the battle. I thought, apart from obviously tagging Ghana, they definitely were keen to move and carry the ball and not just looking to kind of slow down the game and sort of take away passages of time for North Melbourne to not score. So I can see how that is definitely attractive. But I just think North are in this vein of form now where it's kind of like whatever you can do, we can do it with 10 goals better. It's just they've got so much. I'm really impressed with Neve Martin. I think she's her 2 goals, the run and carry from and using both feet.
Yeah.
I know that's the Gaelic in her as well, but having O'Loughlin, Neve Martin, having Randall, Shearlaw, all that sort of capacity, even like obviously Tef's Craven's kind of pushed down back, but she can play, a wing and a high half forward. It's the versatility of the team. It's the depth of the team. And you wouldn't even know that our skipper's out. Like, you wouldn't even, like Emma Carney's been missing for 2 weeks now, our captain of our football club, and we just kind of keep rolling on with it because there's such depth to our team. So, look, credit to Sydney, and I do think they're in a really kind of terrible space at the moment with bad injuries and not being able to sort of cover that when you're in a growth period and development stage for your side. But yeah, North they're hitting the right gears, they're doing the right things, and you love to see it, don't you?
Oh, definitely. Claire did mention Erica O'Shea injury, Jacinta. Now, when it initially happened, I thought she was in serious trouble. She couldn't put any weight on it at the time. I mean, I guess that's the concern now. I mean, we can't, I know we've got a lot of depth, but we don't want to start losing players when we're already like 6 or 7 goals up, and like an important player like Erica O'Shea, who gives good run and carry. But we escaped that. Are you similar to Claire, who mentioned last week that it gets a bit nerve-wracking because you don't want to get injuries to key players? Because I think, just looking at it, that's the only way we're going to get stopped this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. It really makes me feel ill. Even if I see anyone get tackled, I'm thinking, oh no.
Yeah, maybe so.
I'm just like, please, just get up, get up, get up, get up. So yeah, that after that O'Shea one, that really looked like she'd done her knee and she was in tears, and the moon boot and the big show, and yeah, no, she's okay. So I think she's even been named for this week, but surely she doesn't play. I doubt that they'll do that to her. I think, Eliza Shannon or someone else will come in for her, but yeah, no, that is definitely the only danger about being this healthy this late in the year, because usually, no jinx, but at some point injuries do hit, and we have not really had them. I know Carney was a huge one, but yeah, I am nervous. I'm waiting for the dominoes. They just need to hold off for another, however long we've got left, 5-6 weeks. They just need to hold off because, yeah, I'm with you. I think injuries are the one thing that can stop us, or a really, really out of the box bad game. But I have so much faith that I don't think that will happen.
No, well, certainly, we're certainly hoping so. Claire, we had Ash Riddell, 30 touches, 6 tackles. Jasmine Garner, 24 touches, 3 goals, 9 tackles. This is going to be an interesting best and fairest this year, and even the Brownlow medal. They could, I mean, they're probably going to steal votes of each other, which is probably going to cost one of these girls. But it's hard to split. I mean, each week you change your mind as to who has had a better year between both of them, but they've both been excellent.
Yeah, they're definitely going to steal. I had a friend send me a meme, and it was of Jasmine Garner high-fiving her, but on the girl it was thanks, or something about like, sorry, Ash Riddell, I stole all your votes this season. And it's just so true. Like, they're so talented. I thought Elise O'Loughlin was pretty stiff not getting in Sarah Black's team of the week. She had 3 goals herself and I think 15 disposals, and I think she had 4 or 5 tackles, which is not a bad day out, I would have thought. And I saw some small forwards get in before her with, their disposals probably not as great, but that's okay. I think I have a whole conspiracy theory about the AFLW media being against North, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But I think Garner Riddell, the 1-2 kind of punch combo at the moment, in terms of the only players that I can see potentially winning the best and fairest, is an Ebby Marinoff from Adelaide taking the league best and fairest, because no one's really stealing from her, or a Mon Conti. So, yeah, hopefully Jazzy gets the votes this year, though, as well, because, she kind of gets, what's the word?
Overlooked.
Snubbed. Yeah.
Yeah, she does get snubbed. That's probably a better word. Yeah, she does. She's been screwed.
Oh, she's sort of like a modern Bontempelli, isn't she? Like, how's that man not got a Brownlow? So, yeah, look, I think those two girls in AO would be much happier sharing a flag together than they would, fighting over a best and fairest. So hopefully they get the flag, and who cares about the best and fairest? Probably us, but, they wouldn't, I guess. Yeah.
No, that's right. I mean, it's going to be between Riddell and Garner as best and fairest. No disrespect to any other girls; they've all been fantastic. But geez, those two girls are really standing out. And just when you think they can't take it to the next level, they seem to find a way. They're just absolutely unbelievable. Jacinta, I guess it was good to have some decent weather conditions for a change. We haven't had it all season, besides Casey Fields out of all places during the course of the year. I mean, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, you can see their foot skills, and by hand they're so quick.
Yeah.
That you could almost like feel how excited they were to get some dry weather and to actually be able to show off the game plan, because I think the past few weeks they've just had to adapt to whatever was thrown at them. Wet weather footy's never really pretty, so I think it was really good for them to show that. I mean, to prove to themselves that it works, and to also, to prove to everyone else that, hey, like, you will have to stop us, whether it's rainy or it's dry. Like, you will have to actually, clamp down on us. And I think that Sydney really did try. I mean, I think every team this year, their whole strategy, except maybe Brisbane in round 1, have just tried to put like an old Terry Wallace flood on us and just congest the game up and just really block it. But yeah, we're still managing to kick over 10 goals every week. So I think that just shows a lot of willpower from the girls. And I would love to see that in a couple of weeks when they play Adelaide, to see if Adelaide go the same route, or if they just say, we'll try and match it with you guys. And it's just an open, flowing, high-scoring game. And if that's the case, if it is, high-scoring game, it absolutely deserves to be that Friday night game. And I hope that as many AFLW haters watch it as possible, just so they can see that when the good teams play, it is a really, really good standard of footy. It's just there are a fair few bottom clubs that are, honestly, the standard sometimes is really, really hard to watch. But when you watch those top 16, you can really see the difference. So I think that clash against Adelaide, hopefully it's in dry weather as well up at Norwood Oval, and we really show the comp that we mean business, and hopefully Adelaide put up a good show as well. I know this is a couple of weeks ahead, so I'm just going to go back to Essendon. But yeah, on the weekend, it's good to see them playing in dry weather and beating Sydney's flood.
Yeah, no, that's right. Especially the way they try to screw us over with Luke Parker. It was good to get one on him, to be honest with you. Now, there's been a lot of talk in the AFLW in the last week about the Bulldogs Clare, about not kicking goals. They've had 3 games this year where they haven't kicked a score. They haven't kicked a goal. Last 2 weeks they haven't kicked a goal against North and Essendon. I mean, it was all right before that because they won 2 in a row. They didn't say anything then. So yeah, it's
They're
a bit
up
disappointing.
now. They're up by 2. It's 2 goals, 2 plays, 1 goes 4 at the moment with Carlton and Western Bulldogs. But it's grim, Dean. I'm not gonna mince my words here. It's not attractive football. It doesn't look good. It doesn't help the game evolve, and it doesn't help.
It just fuels a fire with criticism, doesn't it? For
Absolutely.
all those haters. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It's this idea that it makes the league look even more vulnerable, and it takes away the authenticity of the league, of these elite athletes, when you've got scores that are pretty bad. And maybe we'd expect that, in the first inaugural season, but that's not where we're at now as a league. So I think it's a direct result from many factors. Like it's obviously the condensed fixture does play a part, but I think it also comes down to expansion happened way too quick, and therefore the spread of talent across the 18 clubs just isn't there. And I think that's evident with having, the top 4 being pretty much the same clubs for the past, 4 or 5 years. So, look, that's their decision. They decided to do that. They decided to expand the league against all metrics and all data and all surveys and all sort of logic. Expanded way too quickly, and hence we don't have the greatest market value for what the product is giving at the moment. But I do think and I do hope that the coaches take in mind that in order to engage a bigger market, you need to play a more attacking brand of football, and you need to sort of maybe concede a couple of goals to get a couple of goals. So hopefully Western Bulldogs, and at the moment, what is it? Oh, it's okay. So Carlton have just kicked the goal now. So it's 16 plays 14. We're in the second quarter. So hopefully we see potentially maybe like a 6-goal, 7-goal a game tonight. That would be pretty ideal, I think.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't know how much these clubs are putting into development of players. Carlton's first season, they made a grand final, and ever since then, they've sort of lost players. They haven't really replaced them with anything. They've got a couple of young players coming through, but they seem to lose them pretty quick too. So, whereas we've put time and development into our program, and it sort of shows, we're happy to develop young girls coming through the draft, and also we've got in some established players from other clubs as well. So we actually put the time and effort into it, and that's why we play good football, and that's why we're on top of the ladder. And
absolutely, yeah. I think North Melbourne's had an establishment, has a connection from 2010. Melbourne Uni. So I think that's why our club's in such good hands, because we believe in women's football, and we didn't just always believe in it when it's fashionable. We believed in it because we knew it was the way forward and to be inclusive. So, yeah, no, I'm really proud of the club. Even in the bleakest times, Dean, where we've come out of seasons where we've won two or 3 games, the thing that I think I can hang my hat on, the fact is North Melbourne is a really ethical club, and it's a very inclusive club, and it aims to be, I guess, lead the way in those sort of metrics. And I think that's really coming to fruition in terms of the win column for the women's team. And hopefully it ends with a flag. But anyway, I shouldn't blow the lid off yet, should I? It's still round 7,
Really hard to get on.
Yeah, it is. It very much is. I mean, Jacinta, our forward line, we'll talk about goals. Our forward line is very potent. Our leading goal kicker is Elise O'Loughlin with 10, but then you've got Kate Sheila with 9, Jasmine Garner with 9, Bella Eddy with 7, Talia Randall with 8. There's just an even spread, and there's a lot of weapons up there, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. They are really, really hard to stop. And actually, I was doing some daydreaming, as I do, and I was thinking about grand final day, and I don't know what they've named the Norm Smith in the AFLW, but whatever it is, best on ground for the women's grand final, whatever. I was just thinking about how O'Loughlin or even like Bella Eddy could come up and just be like Shannon Grant or like a Glenn Freeborn and just come up and just win the Norm from nowhere, just like kick a few goals. Anyway, that was just me just really, really far ahead. But no, they look really, really dangerous, and especially with the way that Talia Randall crushes the packs form. There's just endless amount of balls that need crumbing, I guess, down up forward. So they're really dangerous, and Sheila being back there just really helps a lot with the structure. And then a few times she goes down back in the last couple of minutes, and they tend to do something that the men can't seem to do, and that's to stop those red time goals. And I don't know if it's a structural thing or if they've just got the smarts to be able to work out, hey, you know, where there's only a couple minutes left, we can lock this up now. Or I'm not sure what it is, but they do that really, really well. And I have faith that if we ever end up in another close game again outside of that Geelong one, that we will be able to stop them, because our forwards, as good as they are at actually kicking the goals, they actually work really hard on the way back to help out the defence. And I think the defenders would really appreciate that, because, I mean, as Claire said last week, they hate being scored against. So, they're just working really, really well as a unit, and I'm impressed by them every single week.
No, and you got Vicky Wall, who hasn't kicked that many goals, I think 4 or 5, but her defensive pressure is outstanding, and that's why she continues to be one of the best, pressuring forwards in the competition. All right, Claire, we'll move on to the big rival this week. We're going into Essendon on Sunday. Now, there might be a forced change. We're not too sure. O'Shea has been named. I find it hard to believe that you're going to be in the Moonboot at the start of the week and then all of a sudden you should be right to play. But it wouldn't surprise me. She's quite a tough girl. I guess the simple equation would be to get Eliza Shannon if it is a straight swap for O'Shea if she is out, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say so. Pretty huge, Dean. I'm trying to move some stuff around. I think it's at 3 o'clock on Sunday because it's the first time we're going to play Essendon as a football club in the AFLW. So the rivalry between the two clubs is going to be interesting. Held it at Windy Hill, which I've made a point of never going to, because why would I?
It's a shithole.
Exactly. No, look, I'm pretty excited for it. I think it's going to be interesting. I think Press-Parkis is going to be really interesting, and Bonnie Toogood's back, which is exciting for Essendon. I think we've got enough to cover them in terms of talent-wise, but if I was North, I'd be pretty precarious with someone like Erica O'Shea, knowing how valuable she is to that back line. Without sounding too arrogant, I wouldn't risk it, because at the end of the day, I'd want her playing finals. We already have the Capitano out on that half-back, so I'm happy to put Eliza Shannon in there. I'm also happy to maybe chuck in a Lulu Puller for a bit of match conditioning. I'm not sure at this stage who I would take out for her, but I think she's a good depth player. Looking at the matchup, I think potentially they'll go for a bit with us in the midfield. Georgia G's a bit quick on the heels as well, so that's she's not bad to have. And it's a bit of a matchup with Daria Bannister, who's over there at Essendon, but I think we should do them by about anywhere between 25 to maybe 35 points, I think. I think we've just got too much skill and too much class in all the different areas, and I think taking a precautious approach with Erica is probably the best fit of what she do on the weekends.
If there's any doubt there, she doesn't play unless she's 100%, which I find it hard to believe she would be. So, I'm with you, Claire. I'll lean on the side of precaution. Jacinta, how bad do you want to beat the Bombers this week?
Oh, please, we have to beat the Bombers. We just have to beat them. How long has it been if we beat them in anything? Like a decade? Surely we beat them in the women's. If they win, I will be so sick that I really won't be able to cope with it. I won't be able to watch any football for weeks.
Whoa, that's huge. I mean, I hate them, but I'm also like...
No, we just can't lose to them. Like the women, I've got so many Essendon supporting cousins that all I've been able to say for years and years is, oh, well, you wait till you get a women's team in, we'll beat up on them. And if they prove me wrong, I don't know, it's pretty unforgivable stuff. So, no, but we should take care of them. But they do have. I mean, they've got
some decent players, yeah.
No, they do. I mean, obviously, Maddie Press-Parkis is pretty bloody good. I think I think they've got some players that can do some damage. Even Georgia Clark, she's got something. Amy Gaylor's got some things. So yeah, no, they won't be as easy as the past few weeks have been against Sydney and the Dogs. So I hope we can't probably afford to start as slowly as we have been, but we should do the job. But I think this is our last week to rest some players if we need to. So for sure, I'm with you guys. I think O'Shea probably needs to come out, whether or not she wants to drag herself onto the field. I think she probably needs to come out because, those images of Carney doing her hamstring in the first 30 seconds are still in my mind. So let's leave those running players out if they're not quite right.
No, definitely. I mean, I think we've got enough to beat Essendon and beat them quite comfortably. I mean, any problems with Daria Bannister and Brooke Brown this week, Claire? Like a bit of rivalry there because they did leave us. So adds a bit more incentive, I guess.
I reckon, if anything, Bannister will try to rile up like one of our backline players, like might go to Righty or Fergie, and try to sort of put the bumper bars up or something like that. And I think that will say more about her and her form against the stingiest backline in the league. So Brooke Brown, I was gutted when she left, but I think we've covered her losses quite well with someone like an Eliza Shannon and a Lulu Puller anyway. So, across all lines, I'm just looking at the lineup now. I know Maddie Gay has worked really well down there from moving from Melbourne across the halfback for them. And they've got, Brooke Walker, who can be quite quick, but I just don't see any team outscoring us. And we're always prepared to play attacking footy and break lines and find the overlap. So, I mean, good luck to them. I do hope we start a bit quicker and we're on our heels. Because I think that this next block is pretty important. This against, and then going into Adelaide, and then we've got the Gold Coast Suns. I think realistically now these are the next 3 games is warm up for finals. We pretty much know at this point that we are, pretty much a lock in for the top 4. And it could come down to even something as simple as percentage. So hopefully the girls are in a right frame of mind. And I'd say North by about 28 points is my prediction.
No, fair enough. I'm probably thinking 5+ goals, to be honest with you. I think we'll do a job on them. Jacinta, I'll get your prediction now. You're obviously a bit cautious that you don't want to drop this one, but you still must be confident that we can get over the line here.
Yeah, no, I do think they'll win by about 5 goals. I'll be shattered if they don't. I would almost rather them win this week than beat Adelaide the week after. That's how much I need them to beat Essendon.
I just want to win them all.
That too. But then I get nervous. Like, do you guys think that they need to drop a game? Do you subscribe to that theory, or you're just happy to go all the way through undefeated?
No, I'll try and go through undefeated. The problem is if you drop a game, you're going to finish 3rd or something like that because Hawthorn's got a soft draw. Brisbane's not going to lose another game, so they'll probably finish 1st. Hawthorn's 2nd, we'll finish 3rd. I mean, I guess it's handy Melbourne beat the Crows the other week because they've lost 2 games, so they can't get over us even if they beat us.
Yeah. Oh, that is handy. That's given us a bit of breathing space. Yeah. I can't believe how much the Hawks have just got completely glazed, I guess, in terms of their fixture. They just... I think they're only playing out of the top 4 that's in there. I think they play. I think they do play Melbourne. So in terms of last year finalists, and that's it. And Adelaide. That's the only teams that they'll play. They don't play any final like Geelong, us, and Brisbane, and yet they could finish as high as top 2. You know what I mean? That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's what is it? 11 round season, so
it's bullshit. But
it's bullshit. I think Melbourne will actually beat them. So
so do I. That's what I'm hoping. I reckon Melbourne are coming into a bit of form, and that scares me.
They're getting players back. Yeah, they're getting players
correct.
back.
Yeah, getting players back, finding a bit of form. It's all kind of gelling together, and I think they could potentially do some damage in the final series, and I do not want that. But I guess we'll get to that bridge when we cross it in a couple of weeks' time.
No, but getting you back to your point there, Jacinta, I don't want to drop any games. I just want to go through undefeated. Look, we still got a draw, so technically it's, we almost drop one. So, it's not we've won every game this season. So, we can go on with that, I guess. I'm not too worried about, if we're, finish on top, because I think you want to play a grand final in Melbourne rather than actually travel on to Brisbane, if you can avoid it. So, that's just the nature of the fixture, I guess. Anyways, Jacinta, did you want anything else before I let you go and get some sleep?
Oh, yeah, I'll do my best. I'll do my best to get some sleep. But no, I just I thought I was going to be able to go to the game on Sunday, but I have a hens and I'm a bridesmaid, so I have to go.
Oh, congratulations.
No, I'm not that.
You've clearly never been a bridesmaid, Dean.
No,
not the last couple of years.
No, fair.
No, it's not good, but because it's a 2-day thing, it goes from Saturday night all the way through Sunday, so there is no bailing to watch the footy. So again, I will be muting everything so that I can go home and hopefully watch it in peace, and then message all my Essendon cousins and say suck on that one.
Yeah, you might be under the influence by that stage too, so that'll be good. That's what I'm guessing, anyway.
Yeah, well, you've got to have something at these hens, otherwise you just suck.
Well, that's true. Claire, any final words of wisdom out there?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a little bit more nervous now that there's so much on the line. You've thrown me a bit. Like I agree with what you say. Like if you're going to win, it's kind of like the England. If you're going to beat anyone, beat England. And if you're going to win against anyone, it's against Essendon. But this is the first time in a long time I'm going to walk into the game feeling quietly confident. So yeah, I like I said, 28 points I think should get it done. And yeah, hopefully I'm a bit like you, Dean. I would, the romantic in me wants to see an undefeated season. That would be the goal. But then that always makes me nervous for finals because it almost builds up and this pressure on you kind of culminates. And so I don't want to drop anything. I definitely want to finish first as minor premiers, and I want to host ideally the grand final down in Melbourne. But I don't know, can teams, has anyone in the history of sport, like especially AFL, ever gone undefeated to then win a flag? Like, has that actually happened?
Yeah, it's a bit of a different situation. I mean, if it was 23 rounds or something like that, then you'd have to think we'll drop 2 games or something like that.
Yeah,
but because it's only 11, half the competition's pretty average. You still play them, and there's a bit of we got Brisbane probably at the right time, straight after the grand final rematch. That worked out pretty well. Melbourne, they sort of hit the skids, and outside of that, I mean, there's not much else, is there, really?
It really is. It falls off pretty quickly, doesn't it? Like, between us, Crows, maybe Hawthorn, the question is out there. But, the talent drops off pretty quickly. So, it'll be interesting. Bring on finals is what I
think it's a 3-horse race, to be honest with you, Claire. It's us, Crows, Lions.
You don't reckon D's can climb back in?
I think they're too far down the ladder, to be honest. There's too much work to be done. And if they lose to Hawthorn next week, then that's it for them.
That's true.
They might not even play finals. So
that's true.
And even Geelong, they're too far down as well.
Yeah, they've copped it this season. They've had a mare.
Yeah.
Anyway, as long as we beat Essendon, who cares?
No, that's it. That's all we're worried about. Well, Jacinta, I don't know if you've nodded off just yet, but I'll let you get some sleep. Get those energy drinks. Get a cup of coffee into you nice and early tomorrow morning. While you're waiting for those trains to go. But thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, considering what time you have to get up in less than 5 hours. So thanks so much for coming on, Jacinta.
No, it's never a struggle to talk about a winning football team. No problem.
I still appreciate it. Claire, thanks so much. Always a pleasure with you. I'm sure we'll chat next week, and go Roos.
Go Roos.
And thank you very much to all you local listeners as well. Don't forget to check out my show on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Leave comments. Push that notification bell as well. I'll probably be back early next week. We'll review our win against Essendon. Oh, that's how confident I am. Look out for that. Until then, bye for now, and go Roos. No, thanks, Jacinta. I don't want to hold you up anymore. I really appreciate you coming on. It was. I don't know. Will you be able to sleep? You reckon, or will it be a bit tricky?
Well, I didn't have my nap today, considering I started it. I mean, I've been up since 2. Hopefully,
Oh shit!
in theory, I should be able to sleep. But
Yeah.
decided because I was meant to got a concert tomorrow night, and then I was supposed to start 1 a.m. Saturday. So I've already said I'm gonna be calling sick Saturday because otherwise, what's the point? I just may as well stay in the city and go start driving the train. So I'll call sick,
Oh.
and then I'll recover, and I'll be all right for the hands.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, geez, big weekend then, isn't it? So
You got anything on this weekend besides the footy?
I'm working Saturday as well. Not starting at 2 in the morning or anything like that. Ridiculous. But working Saturday and then Sunday. Yeah, I'll see if I can go to the footy. I'm not 100% sold I can. Other than that, yeah, no, not too much. So yeah, we'll
It's a
see.
good time slot. I do like a Sunday 3 o'clock time slot.
Yeah, I actually don't mind the time, 3:15 on a Sunday, because the games go only for a couple of hours. I'm only half an hour from the ground. It's still a shithole, but yeah, what do you do?